Today we're looking at an overview of the Paynes Bay wildfire. The date is June 22nd, 2011. We will be conducting the overview through a virtual tour in Google Earth with inserted pictures around the perimeter of the fire. Current size of the fire outlined by the red perimeter is 45,294 acres. This day, the perimeter has been steady for 17 days. The blue lines that just came on the screen represent canals and also fuel modification breaks throughout the refuge and surrounding areas. You will notice the two bombing ranges. The one to your right is the Navy range. The range on the left belongs with the U.S. Air Force. As we zoom down, we're looking at the northeastern corner of the fire. This would be closest to Stumpy Point community. And we're looking in a westerly direction across the fire. As seen in that photograph, there was very little smoke left being produced on the 22nd of June. And as we take a little bit different view of the same general area, this is one of the areas that we keep having concerns with because smokes were showing here tremendously even a week ago. The line that you're seeing is a fuel modification line. As you can see, standing water is visible on both ends of that. The area right in the center, where there was not standing water, is being worked with hand crews and worked with engine crews to eliminate all of the spot fires in that area. As we move a little further west along the perimeter on the north, we're now looking at the edge of the Navy range, looking in a southwesterly direction. And the views that you see on the photo line up with the way the camera was pointed when the photographs were taken. As we look back towards Stumpy Point Bay again, we now see a good glimpse of what a large majority of the fire actually looks like. The damage is done, the timber remaining, and the brown needles that are remaining and being cast into the fire area. We'll review some more of those cast needles in just a moment. We continue to move counterclockwise direction around the perimeter of the fire, this being the northwestern corner that we're now looking at along Navy Lead Road. And the one area that still continues to give us a little bit of problem, heat is detected each day in this area, and firefighters continue to work to mitigate that heat in the northwestern corner. A little further down the westernmost side, as we're near Jackson Road, this depicts the standing water that is along the perimeter of the fire, just about the entire way around the fire on the north end. The goal is to establish as much standing water as possible along the perimeter to eliminate any ground fire close to the edge of the perimeter as we possibly can. A little further down Jackson Road, looking across the interior of the burn, you see a few smokes visible, but as compared to even 7 to 10 days ago, there's very little smoke still being produced on the northernmost end of the fire. While conducting this recon flight, we noticed one area of smoke. We went to look at it a little closer, and it turned out to be part of the range itself that was still smoldering and burning, and the green pocket of fuel in the center of the photo is actually just going to continue to burn out until it's no longer a threat. The fuels on the range are very light, mostly grass with low brush, and are kept that way by range personnel and other employees to keep fire threats on the range to a minimum. Next, we will begin looking a little bit further south. We are just north of the Air Force Range, looking along Faircloth Road. You can still see standing water in portions of the photograph adjacent to the road, and some smokes in the upper portion of the photograph that are well within the interior of the burn. A little closer look of this area will show you what kind of fuels are left on the ground. As we take the tour down pretty low, where there is brown needle cast, you see there's very little fuel on the ground below. We feel confident that even as the needles continue to cast down from the trees over the next few weeks, small surface fires may reburn in these areas, but pose little to no threat of escape across the fire. The smoke that continues to be generated from Paynes Bay wildfire largely result from areas such as this. This area is looking from the Air Force Range back toward Stumpy Point Bay, toward the east, and this is good representation of what is taking place across the center of the fire. This is the highest point of the fire, and it is impossible to get water flow to this particular area. So we get back towards what is known as Lake Worth Road and Long Curve Road, an area that 10 days ago was significant ground fire is now totally flooded. Back Lake is off to the left side of the photo, and Stumpy Point Bay is off to the right. This tour gives you a pretty good representation of what has taken place and the amount of work that has went into this fire so far. The flooding operation continues and will continue for some time, but the perimeter of the fire as you see it here now has remained unchanged for the last 17 days, and we suspect that it will stay that way, barring some significant weather event. Smoke will continue across the center portions of the burn until sufficient rainfall is received to extinguish everything completely. Hope you've enjoyed the virtual tour. Thank you for your time.